Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are going to take a look at another really cool Schleich set. I've really been enjoying these Schleich play sets that they have out lately, so I have another one here to take a look at with you guys, and you can quite clearly see it is a very interesting cave set. This cave set includes some dinosaurs with it. We have an alternate paint variant of the Herrerasaurus, which I actually think I'm going to like better than the bluish version, the original version. There is also a Microraptor, which I think this figure is completely exclusive to this set as well. And then there is the Psittacosaurus. I don't know exactly if the Psittacosaurus is an alternate paint variant or if it's the same figure. I can't really tell just from looking at it here in the box, so we'll have to wait till we get that out and take a look at it. But again, as far as the actual box goes, we have the really cool Dinosaurs logo up there with the Schleich Rex breaking through the O. We also have the Schleich logo here to the right, and then the image here on the front shows the set itself, and then down here is a sneak peek of the fact that we have kind of a catapult sort of an action feature with the cave. If we turn the box around, we can see what's here on the back. So it basically shows us, of course, our contents, and also lets us know that we've got a Tyrannosaur skull in here, which I actually didn't notice prior, and then shows us some really cool stuff that Schleich also has to offer, including this other volcano kind of lava-like playset with a bluish Tyrannosaurus, and then there's some other stuff and everything over here showing us again the catapult action feature. So let's go ahead, pop this open, and take a look at it. So we have the set open, we have the contents laying down here on the table, which include our dinosaurs in the cave prior to the construction of it. So let's go ahead, get everything put together, and we'll check it out from there. So our set is put together and looking absolutely awesome. I am already extremely impressed with this set. The actual cave itself is incredibly cool, and the dinosaurs are all exclusive to this set. I can confirm that that Psittacosaurus is definitely a repainted version. Once I got it out, saw those really nice bluish tones, I knew for sure it was a repaint. So we have 3 exclusive dinosaurs, a really cool exclusive skull, and then of course the cave itself. So a lot of really fun stuff included with this set, and definitely something that's really cool as far as, of course, a playability standpoint goes, but also when it comes to dioramas and things like that. You could really create some very cool dioramas with this set. So let's go ahead, jump straight to a closer look at it right now. So as far as the dinosaurs themselves go, the first one we have is the Herrerasaurus, and I love the color scheme of this Herrerasaurus. I do have the original bluish version, but I always felt like this brownish version looked much more natural than what we have on the bluer one, and I'm definitely feeling that same vibe right here with it in person. It's a really nice looking repaint. I have reviewed the Herrerasaurus in the past, so we don't need to go over the sculpt itself. We need to basically take a look at what's new with this one, which would be the paint application. And you can see that here in the face we have some really nice tones of brown, as well as that trademark Schleich dark wash, which I love. I always enjoy a dark wash on any figure because I feel like it really amps up the realism quite a bit as far as the paintwork goes, and you can see how nicely those scales pop there in the face of the Herrerasaurus now due to that dark wash being applied. Really excited to see that the dark wash is, quite abundant on this one. And you can see that we basically have like some really nice tones of reds here on the top of the head, and of course mixing quite beautifully with that dark wash. As you move down here to the side of the face, you continue to see some of those reds all around the eye socket area, and then in the back of the head, and even leading down here into the lower jaw. But you also have some really nice variations of light browns in both the lower jaw and up here on the upper jaw. The teeth are all painted with a white, and the tongue itself is painted with a red, and you can see that we do have a very nice articulated jaw for the Herrerasaurus. The underside has a nice white coloration, and you can see it's actually a really bright white that is abundant throughout the entire underside of the dinosaur, all the way leading out onto the tail. So some very nice paintwork there. You can also see it's a really smooth transition between the brown to that white coloration. As you lead back here into the neck, you see some, again, more tones of that red, and that red runs pretty much the entire course of the dinosaur, but it kind of leads up here into the back, up near the spinal column of the dinosaur, before coming back down into the tail. And here in the mid area of the dinosaur, you can see some nice variations of that light brown again. You have it here in the stomach region, you have it here in the legs, and then transitioning nicely to that white there for the back. And then the red shows back up again in the feet a little bit. The nails are all painted with blacks, and you can see that on both the hand nails as well as the feet. Really cool looking, very nice paintwork for the dinosaur. We also have a really nice green eye, which I think plays off of the coloration of the face quite beautifully as well. So lots of really nice color variation included to this dinosaur. Some green, similar to the green eye that runs along the spinal column, those ridges there on the back, which is also a very cool touch. And all of the paintwork is just really nicely tied together with that dark wash. It's one of the many reasons I love the dark washes of Schleich figures, and I feel like this is a pretty good, showcase as to why the dark wash is something that just looks so good on their figures. And again, really nice paintwork of this one. Definitely my favorite as far as the Schleich Herrerasaurus goes. I really like this one a lot more than the original version. And then we have the Psittacosaurus, and the Psittacosaurus is also a repaint. We have a really nice bluish coloration for this one. This is another figure that I have reviewed here on the channel in the past, so I don't need to review the sculpt again, just basically look at what's different, just like with the Herrerasaurus. But we have a really nice bluish tone of color for the majority of the figure on this one, and it just kind of transitions back and forth between the blue with a really nice green. You can see some of the green there in the face around like the eye socket area. Just adding a little extra color variation there to the face. You can also see some of the grays here that highlight the kind of spikes and stuff for the Psittacosaurus quite beautifully. We also have that light gray for the beak, the inside of the mouth. You can see a really nice reddish coloration in there for the tongue. Can't really see too much else going on in there because that is a very small mouth. But we also have yellow eyes, and you can see that for both sides. Very nice big black pupil. And then again, the lighter coloration of the green around the eye. If we look down here on the underside, we sport that really nice greenish coloration in the throat, and that continues to run along the course of the entire underside of our Psittacosaurus all the way out onto the tail. I like how they have the really nice green and blues here. It's a really bright coloration for the dinosaur, but it looks like it definitely could be the color of it, and I feel like Psittacosaurus would be one of those dinosaurs that would potentially be a little colorful, so I do really quite like the tones of color chosen for this figure. You can see that we also have some of those greens here up on the feet. You can see as the blue transitions to the green as we reach the foot area of the dinosaur. You can also see the same gray that we have for those kind of spikes and stuff, and the beak up here on the face is used for the nails of our Psittacosaurus. You can see it on both the hands and the feet. And then we have some more of that green that runs along the quills here on the back of the tail of the Psittacosaurus, so it adds a little hint of flashiness out there on the tail. Definitely another fun version of the Psittacosaurus, and the Schleich Psittacosaurus, in my opinion, is one of the best Schleich figures that they have released. It's probably, at least as far as I'm concerned, as far as my personal preference goes, it is definitely one of my favorite Schleich figures, so I am beyond psyched to have a second version now from Schleich here entering my collection. We also have the Microraptor, so it's pretty cool to have a Microraptor figure from Schleich. This obviously isn't any kind of like a large, super huge release as far as they go. It's just a small, almost a mini, but again, being a Microraptor, you would expect it to be pretty small. You can see as far as the sculpt goes, we have some pretty nice looking feather detail there in the face and everything of the Microraptor. A little black coloration there around the eye, and then a yellow eye with a black pupil. That darker coloration there around the eye really helps to make the yellow eye pop quite nicely. You can see the nostrils are sculpted out and highlighted with a darker coloration right there. We have some small feathers here poking out of the back of the head of the Microraptor, and that white coloration is a pretty bright white, so the back here of these feathers sports a reddish coloration, kind of a darker red, so those two colors play off of each other really quite nicely, allow a little flashiness for the Microraptor. You can also see the teeth are sculpted, the mouth is sculpted in an open position, and you can see the tongue inside the mouth right there. It is painted with a red coloration. Same deal as far as the coloration goes over here on this side of the Microraptor, and then leading down into the neck region, you start to see the body transition here from the white to a black, and it's a very nice dark black coloration. The feather detail looks really good. Like if you take a very nice close look at the feather detail on this Microraptor, you can see how extremely nice and appealing looking and how highly detailed the feather detail is of the figure. As you lead out here into the arm, into the, I guess you could call it a wing of our Microraptor, you see how the feathers transition again from that black to a white, not any type of a gradual transition. It's a very abrupt transition, very bird-like as far as the coloration goes, but then again, having feathers is very bird-like. You also see some more of those reds that you see on the back right there of the head. You also see those on the tip of the flight feathers of our Microraptor. You can see them on the inside as well. We also have some more really nice feather detail here on the underside of the figure. And then if we look at the hand, you can see the hand is painted again with a white and nicely dry brushed over so that it highlights the skin detail there of the fingers. And you can also see that the nails are painted with a black. As you lead back here into the back of the Microraptor, you can see the movement of the leg really nicely as this leg is picking up and kind of running along. It seems maybe it's about to lead off of something and let out a nice glide across a small area. You can kind of see how the dinosaur is maybe like about to jump. This foot's leaving the ground and it's about to kind of leap into action, and you can see that's really nicely displayed in the leg. Like you can really see basically tensing and stuff and movement shown within the leg, which is really cool to see. Very nice, very fine attention to detail on the part of Schleich. Again, some more very small, very fine feathering here for the back of the leg. You can also see the kneecap right there. And we have feathers sticking off of the back of the leg. And again, a similar look to the feathers up here on the front of the body with the black transitioning to the white. A little bit more of a gradual transition, but not too much. And then again, some more red there for the tips of the feathers out here on the back of the feet. The feet are also sculpted just like we saw on the hand. As far as the texturing of the skin, they're also painted in a similar fashion with a nice dry brushing, and then the same kind of paintwork and sculpt work out here for the tail feathers of our Microraptor. You can see how really beautiful the feathering is as far as the detailing aspect goes, and again, more of that red running along the tip of the feathers. Same deal for the underside, and you can see that this side here sports the arms in almost the same position, honestly. Even the head is in pretty much the same position, maybe a slight tilt to the head, but the leg is in a different position here as this one is still touching the ground, but it looks as though it's pressing off of the ground to kind of leave the ground. This one over here has already left. This one's about to. You can see the foot looks really nice though detail-wise, and also some more nicely painted nails, and the entire underside also looks pretty good. So that is a very fun looking, very small Microraptor from Schleich. Definitely a fun addition to this set. And then we have ourselves the Tyrannosaurus skull, and I love how they've sculpted and painted this one. The sculpt is really nice, very, very nicely detailed. You can see some beautiful texturing to the entire course of the skull, and the paintwork is very realistically done, where we have some nice tones of a white, but also kind of what appears to be like a messy, almost dirty, brownish wash that has been applied, like a light brownish wash, and I just feel like it gives the entire skull a much more realistic appearance. And the skull itself, again, is super highly detailed for what it is, being just a small little addition to the set. The detailing is honestly off the charts as far as this skull goes, and again, Schleich has expertly painted it so that it has a really nice, very realistic and lifelike appearance. It also has the ability to articulate, so you can articulate the entire thing. I actually popped it off because I went a little too far. But again, it has like an articulated jaw, so you can open the mouth, or you can again then close the mouth to keep it however you would like when displaying it on this set. And then the cave itself is really cool. It has some fossil remains or skeletal remains up here on the top of the cave area, so apparently the lunch potentially of a Herrerasaurus at some point. And then as you move along, you can see that we only really have a dark gray for the coloration of the entire cave. The whole rocky area is just one solid tone of color, but it is so unbelievably highly detailed. Like, it is really nicely textured and detailed in every possible area, every possible vantage point, which is a really nice thing to see because it creates a very cool diorama piece with a very highly detailed and very realistic appearance. So Schleich has done a great job on the cave itself, and I think that they continuously do a great job. If we actually take it apart a little bit here, because it just kind of sits together, so you can kind of create like action features with it, which we will show you here in a moment. But you can see as we turn it and stuff, the detailing does not cease anywhere. It is super nicely done, very highly detailed from every area you look. And if you actually look inside the cave again, the detail does not stop anywhere. It is as lifelike as it honestly gets when it comes to rock formations. You can see the same over here for this little piece that kind of hangs out. And then we also, again, have the piece we were looking at there with the skeletal remains here on the top and then the underside. Everything is really beautifully and very highly detailed. Now, as far as actually kind of constructing this area, you basically have to take, like, there's certain grooves and stuff that you use to attach the two pieces, and then they sit together. But one thing that's very interesting about this set is there's actually different ways you can play with it as far as the kind of action feature that's included. So if you knock this out, basically you're going to collapse the rock because this piece is held in alternately, like that's a solo piece added to it. So if we do this, you can see how there's kind of like a cave-in, like a collapse, and it's pretty cool to have that kind of action feature because basically what happens is you take this piece here, and if I can recall how to put it in, so there we go, it goes in like this. You're going to collapse it, which causes this to push out, and then everything collapses. May not have been quite as visible there in that moment where I just collapsed it because there was, kind of just so much going on so quickly, but that's how it works. You also have two holes here on the underside, and if you take those two holes, you take the rock out of this area first of all, and you have two little tops right here. You take the holes, you kind of attach it right there, and then you set it down. You now can use this rock to catapult. So basically what you're going to do, and I don't want to lose this because I have so much stuff around here, but you basically want to launch the rock off like that. Maybe not so much allowing this to go flying away the way I just did it, but that's basically how it works. If I can find the spot, there we go. How the catapult works. So you basically can take the rock, set it there, then use this to push down, which will catapult the rock off. Again, another really fun action feature. It's very cool of Schleich to be so creative with their sets. They always kind of give you really cool sets, but also some fun things that you can do with your set. And this is one that really isn't like a complicated thing. It's basically just a playability standpoint on your own, and they're basically giving you ideas on how to do it and different things you can do. Very cool idea on the part of Schleich and quite nicely utilized in the set. Now, as far as a size goes, if we go for a length on the entire cave set, actually, let's take the Psittacosaurus off of there. So if we have it with the closer version, actually, we'll go ahead and take this down because I think we should probably get the full length in the longest possible way here with this to give you a rough idea of what the length is. So if we actually have it extended there, we're not using the catapult version. This is more of the collapsible version. For a length from that area down to here, you are looking at about 14 3/4 inches, or about the 37.5, closing in a 38 centimeter range. So there is some pretty good length with it. As far as a height goes to the top of the ledge over here, you're looking at about 8 inches or 20.5 centimeters. So quite sizable in that aspect as well. When it comes to the Psittacosaurus, actually, I guess we'll put it down here. For a length, you're looking at about the 4 3/4 inch range, or around 12 centimeters. The height we're not going to be able to get up here. And then for the Microraptor, for a length, you were looking at about the, I would say about 3.5 inches or 9 centimeters. And then for the Herrerasaurus, who is quite clearly the biggest of the bunch, actually, let's just move this over entirely because I am not going to be able to balance the Herrerasaurus out on there. So for a length on the Herrerasaurus, you were looking at about 10 inches or about the 15 centimeter range, somewhere in that area. We don't really need to do any type of a size comparison or anything like that because I think the dinosaurs themselves next to the cave and everything obviously give you a comparison already. And since there are quite a few different dinosaurs included here, there's probably a pretty good chance that you may already have one of these dinosaurs. So this cave playset from Schleich is another awesome release on their part. I never had any of the Schleich playsets until just recently. I've always wanted to get a hold of some. I've always been interested in them, but I've just never been able to acquire them. And now that I have begun, I might actually be addicted to them because they are so cool and continuously sports some really cool exclusive dinosaurs with an awesome playset included. And it's something that really nobody else is doing as far as like these type of companies that produce really cool kind of high quality dinosaurs. You don't really see too many other companies that produce these play sets, so that's something that's really unique and exciting about Schleich specifically. This cave set is another really nice one on their part, not quite as intricate as the volcano set that I recently reviewed, but still really cool. I love the playability of this one because it's different. It's not like your normal playability, where this one just kind of has like a collapsible wall and a catapult that is operated basically by you. It's not like it has any kind of like a mechanism inside or like batteries that have to be used or anything like that. Like it's honestly like kind of old school as far as the way you play with it. And because I'm kind of an old school human being, I really like that, and I really associate with that. So it has kind of like that vintage feel, like something I would have played with as a child, but still having a really kind of new school and modern feel to it. So very cool on the part of Schleich as far as the playability of the set goes. And the sculpt itself is incredibly highly detailed, so it's a very nice display piece, a great way to display some of your Schleich dinosaurs in your collection, and in general is just a very nice, very appealing to look at, kind of a rock and cave replica. Like it looks really highly detailed to the point where it honestly looks real. Like it really, really does look like real rock here before me. So Schleich has done a fantastic job on the sculpt. There's not really much paint to the cave. It's just basically the dark gray that is abundant throughout all of it, but it still looks really good as far as what we've been given. There's also that really cool skeleton on the top, so that just adds a little extra flair of awesomeness to the set. And then we have some exclusives with the set, which is a repainted version of the Herrerasaurus, which is definitely my favorite version of the Herrerasaurus released by Schleich. I feel like this paint scheme looks much nicer than the last version did. A lot more natural and very, very nicely applied is the paintwork, and brought together beautifully with the dark wash that everybody at this point should know that I love, because I am continuously stating in every Schleich review how much I enjoy the dark washes they apply to their figures. I really feel like it just amps the realism up so much, and this Schleich Herrerasaurus is a great example of why I feel that way. We also have a very nice Microraptor, which looks really cool. It's a figure that I don't believe I had, and if they have released the Microraptor prior in a different set, they definitely didn't have this particular paint variant, and I feel like the coloration they've used on it is beautiful. Very nice tones of color, very nicely applied, and a really cool sculpted Microraptor on top of everything. Then there's the Psittacosaurus, which is one of my favorite Schleich figures of all time, and it comes this time with a brand new paint scheme, but it doesn't trail too far off from the previous paint scheme that we had from the Psittacosaurus. Kind of a similar look, but definitely another fun look. I really quite like the kind of brighter colors of this one, and it's all very nice and naturally applied on that one as well. And then we have the beautiful Tyrannosaurus skull, which is just kind of the icing on the cake as far as the set goes. Also sculpted really, really beautifully and very nicely painted. So as a whole, this entire set is another win on the part of Schleich, and something that I can definitely recommend picking up, because you get some really awesome exclusive dinos and a super awesome cave playset. So if you are interested in this, I will include a link in the description too, where you can buy this on the Schleich website. So make sure you check that link, go purchase yourself this awesome cave set, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe before you do. And I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.